Thank you all for coming this morning. My name is Mia Ferroletto, and with the help of this incredible group of speakers and Susie Cody, we've put together Hemp, New York City. This event is being recorded and streamed live, and the panel from last Saturday is already up on the internet. So at the time we finish today, over 7 hours of recorded presentations will be available to everyone. Before I say a few things about Hemp New York City, I just want to say that with last Saturday's panel and again today, we have put a stake in the ground in Manhattan. And it's extremely exciting because not only are these panels and the Works on Paper art fair happening, I've had meetings throughout the week and am thrilled to announce that 4 colleges and universities are currently in discussion on reintroducing or introducing for the first time industrial hemp into their curriculum for September. So it's very exciting. The chairman of the Sustainable Textiles Department at FIT has committed. So starting in September, 2,400 of their students will be making blue jeans out of hemp, and weaving with hemp yarn, and both FIT and Parsons are interested in co-sponsoring this event for next year. So we're making tremendous headway in terms of the visual arts, architecture, engineering, and fashion with our students in Manhattan. The artist Glenn Goldberg is exhibiting at the Works on Paper Fair at Pier 36. It opened Wednesday night to 5,000 people. This is the card, this is our program for today's event. Both of these were printed by Tree-Free Paper, and Morris Beagle is here from the Colorado Hemp Company. These were printed in Colorado on hemp paper. We have samples of Dr. Bronner's soap at the art fair, and everyone stops to get their soap sample and learn about the art that's been made from industrial hemp. Glenn actually painted with colored pulp, dyed with natural dyes and natural pigments. And there are VIP passes on the table over there, so for any of you who would like to take one and come down to see the art fair, please do. What was so exciting for me yesterday was within the span of 20 minutes, curators for 2 different hospitals came to the booth and were completely overwhelmed by the work. It's colorful, it's whimsical, it has a very optimistic attitude, and they're both interested in buying series of Glenn's pieces for children's wing, for the children's wing of each of the hospitals. So I so look forward to the day when hemp art made from hemp in all different forms, is on view everywhere, but particularly the day when art made from hemp is hanging in hospitals and being used to heal people in those hospitals. So, good work, all of you who are here. I'd like to make an announcement also for High New York, and just a shout out to High New York for all their support. And the New York Cannabis Film Festival is taking place in September. It features documentaries not just on marijuana, and they'd like to include Tim Matson, who's in the back there recording this, is organizing the festival, and they'd like to include as many hemp documentaries as possible. So anyone interested, please talk to Tim And on our Facebook page and website, there's information on how to submit your films. In addition, we're about to send out sheets of handmade hemp paper, also made at Dudonnet, to 250 artists, including very high-end artists such as Jasper Johns and Christo, Frank Stella, inviting them to make a work of art and send it back in, and a Chelsea gallery will be exhibiting all 250 works. So that's in the works, so to speak. I just wanted to say that we are sitting in the Great Hall here at Cooper Union, where Abraham Lincoln gave his famous speech against the advancement of slavery to the Western states, which formed the foundation of his presidential run and ultimate win. And we're really standing up to another form of corporate slavery, which has kept Americans from growing and harvesting industrial hemp for more than 70 years. It's people like all of us who are changing that now, and hopefully legislation will bring in complete legalization of all forms of cannabis in the near future. So thank you so much for being part of all of this. I'd like to introduce the first speaker, New York Assemblywoman Donna Lupardo, who will fill you in on what's happening in New York State as far as hemp legislation. Donna?
Well, good morning, everyone. Thanks for taking the time to be here today to discuss this really important and exciting topic. There are a couple of different stories going on here at play. I wanted to share my own story with you quickly and give you a view of what's going on at the Capitol. There are a handful of us in Albany who work on cannabis legislation. I have the hemp legislation along with Senator O'Mara and Senator Kruger. We have Assemblywoman People-Stokes and Senator Kruger have the full legalization of cannabis bill. I'm the primary co-sponsor of that. And we also have we also have the medical marijuana legislation, as sad as it is, that Assemblyman Gottfried and Senator Savino are championing. Those are three major pillars in our work on cannabis, and I'm pretty proud of the work we have done so far on the hemp legislation. You know, this is set in a context of a rediscovery across our state of food and agriculture. I come from the southern tier of the state of New York, and for those of you who are involved with the fracking debate, we had literally thousands, hundreds of thousands of acres that were potentially tied up waiting for fracking to occur. People with leases, people with hopes for this type of process to take place. When the governor and state agencies essentially banned fracking in New York State, another round of applause. It opened up nearly 1 million acres of developable land in the southern tier alone. I come from a place with horrible poverty, with people who are looking to do something new, and across our state we're seeing a growth of wineries, cideries, and breweries. We have an expression at the Capitol right now: if we can grow it, we can drink it. And we do have an interest, of course, in hemp distilleries and hemp wineries and all the rest. So it's a pretty exciting time for those of us who are interested in local foods, and this fits right in. I have to tell you that I was always interested in hemp, but I was unaware, honestly, of the vast potential of it. I always viewed it as a textile, primarily from a textile perspective, until I came across the Vote Hemp website, the Vote Hemp materials, and we immediately filed a bill that would essentially begin the process of growing hemp in New York State. Unbeknownst to me, the federal government tucked into an appropriation bill a provision that would allow states to begin research pilot programs. I spent all of 2014 interacting with individual legislators, specifically in the state Senate, with this Why Industrial Hemp sheet. And one by one, I was able to persuade them to pass the bill allowing New York State to engage in the industrial hemp pilot program. It passed unanimously in the Senate with just two no votes in the Senate and unanimously in the State Assembly. It was a pretty major undertaking for New York State. If you know, again, what's happening with our medical marijuana law, you can see how things can go terribly wrong in a hurry. This, however, had the potential to go badly, but we were able to intercede as the regulations were being developed for this. You will find it amusing that the first version of our pilot research program would have required the hemp trial fields be surrounded by barbed wire fencing. Barbed wire fencing and highly securitized operation. Working with Cornell and many of the advocates, we were able to not only remove that provision, but we were also allowing now for universities who apply for the research license to contract out with local farmers. And I just learned the other day that Morrisville, working with J&D Farms, has received the first license to put seeds in the ground. First time New York State will have seeds in the ground since 1937. It will happen this spring. Pretty exciting. Also, Cornell is going to be applying for a license, and they are looking to study a number of cultivars. We have run into some problems, as you might expect, with the DEA in terms of seed importation, even though they have been instructed to not get involved and to not obstruct. Nonetheless, we'll be hearing more about this later, nonetheless they are. We're very grateful to some of our partners, specifically in Kentucky, who have been willing to talk to us about seed acquisition. It's wonderful to have a hemp program, but if we don't have seeds, we're sort of going to be SOL, as it were. So we are also now trying to follow along with another provision that the federal government is allowing, and they're going to allow us to transport, process, and sell our products. Again, it's a workaround. It's still a Schedule I drug, but I think they've allowed this, again, to be in an omnibus bill. I have filed an amendment to my legislation that will allow this to occur. All of this is for naught unless we can finally get the federal government to move ahead with the Industrial Hemp Farming Act. I want to report to you the state of sponsorship of that bill. And when I said all of this is for naught, I mean, surely we're doing the best we can. We'll hear examples from states like Colorado and others that have really developed quite a robust hemp agricultural initiative, Kentucky and others. New York State, of course, is generally cautious by nature, although I have been pushing the needle as far as I possibly can. It would make it a lot easier for all of us if the feds could just simply pass this bill. So this bipartisan bill, just to give you an update, was introduced by Senator Ron Wyden from Oregon and Congressman Thomas Massey of Kentucky. It has 65 co-sponsors in the House of Representatives. However, there are just 3 from New York State. And I'm going to tell you who those 3 are, and if your congressperson is not one of these 3, I would greatly appreciate it if you would contact them and ask them to get on the case here. The 3 congressmen who are sponsoring that bill are Richard Hanna, who's retiring this year, Congressman Jerry Nadler, who I believe is from this area, and Nita Lowey. We have Senator Schumer and Senator Gillibrand, neither of which are on the Senate version of the bill. I have been in touch with their offices. I'm discussing the importance of them getting on this bill. I think they should be on it. They're certainly open to it. If you have contacts with any of these people, please let them know that New York State is doing all we can to take advantage of the openings that we have available to us. We're putting seeds in the ground. We're studying with the help of our friends from Kentucky and others. We will be doing that. We will be passing a bill that will allow the sale, transportation, processing, and distribution of products from that research. We will also, we have in place a bill ready to go, creating licensure for hemp farming once the federal government takes this out of the Schedule 1. And it's an important economic piece of our entire program. Again, we are #1 in so many agricultural commodities right now. The governor likes to say that, we produce more Greek yogurt than Greece. We are producing more fruits, more beverages, craft beverages, more commodities than most people realize. 1/4 of the state's land mass is devoted to farmland. It's the #1 industry. And as people rediscover the heritage of farming, hemp surely must be a central component of this. And without people like myself and Senator O'Mara and a handful of us who are insisting on this, we wouldn't be at this point right now. And I will implore you to engage your federal representatives to finally get this crop in the place it deserves. And it's just an important point in history for us to take this turn in the road. All of you who have worked so hard to get to this point, to organize these meetings, to have these meetups, to try to push this thing forward, I'm very grateful to you, and I'm happy to be playing one small part in the story. But I can assure you, New York will not be left behind when this happens, and we're already starting down that road. So thank you very much.